Reflection, Chapter 12. Ow! The lion cried. Out of the bush emerged a short elderly woman. She wore a straw hat and a creamy green robe with a yellow sash. The spade gleamed in her hand, and she raised it at Shishi threateningly. "That'll teach you, you bully of a lion, trying to scare a poor old lady." "He's with us," Mulan said quickly, stepping in front of Shishi. "He's my family guardian," Shang added. The old lady's eyes twinkled. "Ah, soldiers! You should have said so before. Can't be too careful these days, not with all these demons and ghosts scurrying about. Just the other day I caught a demon lurking by my plum trees." "Shishi isn't a demon," Mulan said. The old lady tossed the spade into the bushes, then grabbed Mulan by the arm and tapped her armor. Mulan noticed for the first time that the old woman didn't glow or look translucent, like Shang. She seemed almost alive. The old woman wrinkled her nose. "Fashion has changed since I was last on the 100th level. Who's the emperor now?" "Is the 100th level the highest level?" Mulan asked, ignoring the woman's question. General Li had said the bamboo forest was on the 79th level, but he hadn't been able to tell her much more. "Is that where the gate is?" "You're a quick one. Yes, the 100th level is where King Yama's throne room is." "What level are we on now? How do we get there?" Shang inquired. "That isn't so easy," the old woman sighed. "Things here are constantly shifting. It's like a maze. Very easy to get lost. Lucky for you, I know Daiyu like the back of my hand." "Maybe you should help us," suggested Shang. "Have some tea first," replied the old woman. "All these questions make me thirsty." "Thank you, ma'am, but—" "Lao Lao," the old woman interrupted. "You must call me Lao Lao. Everyone thinks of me as their grandmother and Daiyu. We're all family down here. It's been so long since I've had company, especially that of such brave and honorable young men, and with such an impressive-looking guardian, no less." She touched Shishi's mane admiringly, which seemed to immediately win over the lion despite his misgivings about her earlier. "Come, come!" Mulan and Shang exchanged a look. "I'm sorry, Lao Lao, but we're in a rush." "I won't take no for an answer," the old lady interrupted. Mischief twinkled in her dark, hooded eyes. "And don't tell me you don't have time. In Daiyu we have all the time in the world." Lao Lao ushered them toward her pavilion. "Luck must be on our side," said Shishi happily, still peering over the women's praise. "But should we trust her?" Mulan asked. The old woman's energy and short stature reminded Mulan of Grandmother Fa. If not for her white hair, which was so long it reached past her waist, and her pointed chin unlike Grandmother Fa's round one, the resemblance would have been striking. Maybe too striking. "You don't have to trust her," said the guardian. "But not everyone in Daiyu has ill intentions. Perhaps she could get us out of here. I'd prefer that over wandering aimlessly about the underworld." Shang seemed to share Mulan's concern, but he relented. "It's worth a try." He entered the pavilion first, and then Shishi sucked in his breath so he could squeeze himself between the pillars. Following the lion, Mulan ascended the pavilion's delicate steps and walked inside. It had been a long time since she'd been surrounded by actual furniture. The cushions were silk, the backs of the benches latticed with intricate designs of butterflies and birds, and the round rosewood tables all had candles scented with rose and honeysuckle. "Sit, sit," the old woman gestured at the benches, and at the cushions on the floor where Shishi promptly made himself at home. Mulan noticed the 3 empty teacups on the table. Had they been expected? "What a long day," the old woman said, reaching for the pot of tea on the table. "Would you pass me your cup?" Shang shook his head, and Mulan remembered how he tried to take her arm in the tower but couldn't touch her. "I don't think I can." "You can touch anything or anyone that belongs in Daiyu," Lao Lao told him. "These cups, these benches, the flowers in my garden." She met Mulan's gaze. "But I'm afraid your companions are off limits, so long as they're still living." Hesitantly, Shang picked up the nearest teacup. His skin was so transparent he could see the flowers painted on the porcelain through his shadowy fingers. He passed it to Lao Lao, who lifted the pot to pour them tea. "Let me help you with that," Mulan said, raising. "The pot must be heavy." No, I'm stronger than I look. All that gardening." The old woman tilted the teapot spout into the first cup. "You soldiers must know about the war that's going on upstairs. I'm afraid my news is rather out of date. King Yama is always extra irritable whenever there's a war, overcrowding, and work sometimes unbearable for him. And I've heard all about you 3. Captain Li Shang, his guardian, Shishi, and Ping. Am I correct? Shang and Shishi nodded. Mulan stole another glance at Shishi's spot across from her. It was odd that all the pillows and cushions had been laid out there for him. How do you know our names? Mulan asked. It isn't often King Yama allows outsiders from the world above, Lao Lao replied. You must be a rather special young man, Ping. The boy with no name, some are calling you. No name, Shang repeated, but his name is Ping. Mulan fidgeted, remembering the comment King Yama had made when she couldn't find Fa Ping in his book. What about you? She pressed Lao Lao. Who are you? Just an old lady lucky enough to have a garden in Daiyu. You aren't a ghost, Mulan pointed out. You look alive. Lao Lao laughed at Mulan's observation. I'm not a demon if that's what you're worried about. King Yama and I have an understanding. The old woman winked at Mulan. Though it seems I'm not the only one he grants special privileges. Mulan frowned. Shishi cleared his throat. You'll have to forgive him, Lao Lao. He's the little soldier's first time in Daiyu. He's a bit edgy. I can't blame you, Ping, said Lao Lao with a chuckle. It can't be easy being the only human traversing the underworld. You're lucky to have the great Li Guardian to guide you, especially Captain Li Shang. Shishi's fur bristled with pride once more. Li Shang is the son of the esteemed General Li. I'm going to make him a great hero one day, once we get out of Daiyu, of course. Speaking of getting out of Daiyu, Mulan interrupted. Lao Lao, you mentioned that the gate was on the 100th level. Yes, said Lao Lao. It is the only way out of here, but most never see the level again once they've entered Daiyu. Your best bet is to make it to the 99th level, the City of the Dead. You do, and stay there. The rest of Daiyu is full of hidden dangers. There are endless chambers full of suffering and misery, and beasts from your nightmares. Stepping into the wrong one, and you may be trapped there forever, but you do is quite nice. Mulan glanced about the pavilion. All 6 sides were open, so one could enjoy the view of the garden and pond from every angle. She could easily jump out if she wanted, so why did it feel like she's entered a cage? Oh dear, said Lao Lao. I can see I've alarmed you, Ping. Worry not. This isn't one of the dangerous levels. You're safe here. Besides, nothing in Daiyu can harm a ghost. Mulan frowned again. If nothing in Daiyu can harm the ghosts, then why are there torture chambers throughout the levels? Ah, you're a clever one. Not every ghost must be punished, but those who do not pass their time in you do. And can they be harmed? Nothing can harm a ghost unless they're sentenced to be tortured. You see, a ghost's body is like water. They can touch whatever is in Daiyu, but they may also pass through it if they choose. It takes some practice, especially flying and such, but most are here long enough to master it. Lao Lao tilted her head. They also feel something. Not the pain of 1,000 lashes, of flesh being burned, or of eyes being gouged. Not unless they've been assigned to suffer a punishment. King Yama has a knack of determining the one's worst fear is and making them confront it. If they must be punished, that is. She paused, seeing the worry on Mulan's face. Your friend isn't a ghost. He's close enough, of course, but his body is in the real world and has not yet died. Until then, almost nothing in Daiyu can harm him. Almost nothing? Mulan repeated. Before you said nothing. Did I? The old woman shrugged. Ghosts can be trapped or get lost. Those would not be ideal fates for the captain. What about Ping? Shang pressed. He's not a ghost. Ping needs to be careful. Very careful. She plastered on a smile and pushed their cups forward. Drink, drink. Your tea is getting cold and you both must be thirsty. I'm not, Mulan said, remembering Shishi's warning. A warning the lion himself was promptly forgetting as he continued to sniff the tea. What? Lao Lao said with a laugh. You look uneasy, Ping. Are you afraid it's poisoned? Of course not, Mulan said quickly. We just have a long journey ahead of us and all the more reason to drink. A sip or two won't delay you too long. The old woman carried the teapot to him and opened his lid so the tea's aroma could waft in their noses. Could anything dangerous smell so wonderful? Answer me that.